What's up, Nicholas?
How are you, my friend? We're bi-coastal today, aren't we?
Yes, we are bi-coastal, and sorry, guys, that there was no show last week. As you guys know, I was out here for the Marina del Rey Film Festival for a short film Quiver, and with the flights and everything, it just didn't work out. But luckily, we can get this in right before I check out today, so it'll be super fun. And for those of you wondering how it went at the festival, we won Best Thriller Short Film, baby. I don't know if you can see it, but there it
Oh yeah,
is.
your blur's on.
Ah, damn it. Well, oh, hold on. We almost had it.
There you go.
Ah, there we go.
Hey.
Nailed it. But yeah,
First acceptance and first award.
that's how we do it. And hopefully, this is a sign of good things to come for the festival run. For those in the greater Orlando area, we will be doing an Orlando premiere. Details of that are coming very soon. So stay tuned. We actually wanted to talk about a couple things up top since we missed like 2 weeks worth of stuff. You also saw A Quiet Place day one, yes?
I did.
Okay.
Was
I
our
know that.
Thursday.
Yes, I know that from what I understand, we both are very positive on the movie. I think I'm a little bit more positive, but I want to hear kind of not no spoilers, guys, but I want to hear like your thoughts on the movie, what worked, what didn't work for you, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think right now on Letterboxd, I have it sitting at a 3.5, and I kind of almost want to see it again. So I think the way I have them ranked right now, I really like the first Quiet Place. I think I gave that a 4. Um, Second one, I wasn't that big of a fan of. I didn't think it was bad, but I think I dropped it down like 3. And right now I'm sitting 3.5 with Quiet Place Day One, but I honestly think it could go back up to a 4 with it. And I feel like upon rewatch, it might end up even being maybe my favorite of the franchise. I think that one, the director is the director who directed Pig. And I think Pig was his first feature. And I think to go from Pig to scale it up to something at this level that they were doing, because it definitely is probably the most expensive Quiet Place movie, at least visual. Well, I don't know. Killian
It,
Murphy and Emily Blunt are
yeah,
probably not cheap.
it might be. I have to look it up, but it might be.
Yeah. But regardless, it's a lot more expensive than Pig.
Yeah.
And to scale up the way he did, and I thought the effects all looked really good. I thought the world building itself was really good. I think that my biggest sort of holdups with it, and I think it kind of goes with a lot of the Quiet Place movies in general, is I felt like a lot of things worked off of convenience. Um, and I think that some of these set pieces, while cool, ultimately were sort of repetitive. Like I thought that the one of them in the water was really cool under the subway, but then like every sort of set scene kind of runs out to they're running away from them and then they hide in a corner and are quiet for a bit. One of them gets really close, and then we go to the next scene. And I felt like that sort of got a little repetitive for me. I wanted a little maybe more innovation with what they were doing with them. It was just sort of set in New York, and it even really didn't need to be set. Like there was no New York iconography in the movie, which I thought was an interesting choice. Um, but I think that the movie is held up by the human aspect of it. I think that the director did a wonderful job of having us buy into the dynamic between Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. And I think that it's a hurdle and I think a much more compelling story to have this sort of, you know, humanity amongst each other during these times of trauma versus, if you look at like Quiet Place, you sort of innately have that because it's a family. So I feel like you're innately rooting for it. And I think there's something much more of a stronger human connection story here that is upheld very strongly by the two of their performances. And I think that they gave wonderful performances in the movie. And without them, I feel like with lesser actors, let's say, it just, I think it falls apart. But you buy into, like, I'm watching it, and, the whole, Lupita Nyong'o's character's sick. And I feel like if you don't give a good performance with that, it comes like cheesy or you don't buy into it. And there, I'm like, oh my God, she's dying. Like,
Mhm.
she might just drop at any second. And that's just a testament to Lupita Nyong'o as an actress.
I agree. And for context on kind of my thoughts,
Yeah.
I think and people give me shit for this. I don't care. Quiet Place One is a 5-star movie to me. I think it was and this is where I really lose people, but hold on, everyone who's watching. I think the first Quiet Place movie was the best movie of 2018. And think about all the movies that came out in 2018. A Quiet Place was my favorite film that came out that year. I love that movie.
What else
I
came out 2018? If you
I
can
mean,
rattle off a few of the big ones.
the first Spider-Verse, Infinity War, Green Book, Roma, like that was that year.
Ah,
I love the first Quiet Place movie. I think it's brilliant. I liked the second movie. Was it a step down? Yes, but I didn't think it was a bad movie by any stretch. I maybe give it a 3.5, maybe 4, depending on how I'm feeling. Right now, for day one, I'm at a 4 stars.
okay.
And honestly, this is one of the few times where I'll say I think this movie could have benefited from being a little bit longer, and not just from a destruction horror standpoint. I think we got plenty of that. The movie does do a good job of establishing the emotion, establishing the character, but I would have liked to have spent more time with the character before shit hit the fan. Now, listen, I'm a huge fan of things hitting the fan quickly, which this movie does, and it does it very well. But I could have benefited from spending just a little bit more time with the characters in the beginning of the film. Another thing is I love that they didn't just use this movie to explain the aliens, like dive more into them. Because what I love about the first two Quiet Place films is how we don't know much about them. Because,
Yeah.
an argument I get into with some film fans about the first Quiet Place is they're like, well, I don't know where the aliens come from. And I was like, who fucking cares? Who cares where they come from? What matters is that they're there. And the movie
They're
just,
here, yeah.
and that's why the movie starts with like, it's already happened. And I think this is a movie that is a true definition of what a spin-off movie should be. It is a movie that is in the universe of another movie and just telling a story in that world. It didn't
Hmm.
feel like it had to connect to the other two movies, even though it does. And it didn't feel like, you could tell that there was no obligation from the storytelling. It was just like, this fits within the story to connect it here. So well, let's do it. And
Yeah,
it,
and like spoilers, he's in the trailer, but like Digimon Hansu's character who's in the second movie,
yeah.
like he didn't need to be in the movie.
No, 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 no.
Like,
Here's where I'll disagree with you. He didn't need to be in the fucking trailers, and that is upsetting. That's
yeah, that's
upsetting
fair.
because you can tell when they made this movie. You can tell in the movie he was designed to be a surprise in the movie, like
Yeah.
100%. That was, and I think what this probably was he has a very good manager who was like, no, promote him in this. Like I'm sure that was what was
Mhm.
going on there.
He was definitely in it more than I anticipated him to be
Yeah,
in it.
but you can tell like the intent, at least how I read it, the intent was like, oh, that was supposed to be a cool thing that fans picked up on when they watched the movie. Was, oh
Yeah.
shit, there he is, instead of like him being in the trailers. But
Yeah.
another thing I want to point out,
Hmm.
I think the first half of the film is good. I think the second half of the film is great. I think the second half of this film is great. It did get me. I did cry in the end of the film, and it's not the very, very end. When they get to a particular place,
Hmm.
that and something gets written on a box that killed me. But and I thought what you said, like the humanity of these characters, is what really drives the movie home. And of course, with the director from Pig, I expected nothing less. And I also love that this movie, for like a recent blockbuster film, something that a lot of recent blockbusters have been lacking in, is just a more of a tonal match to the vibe. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of interesting camera placement, shot construction, the filmmaking techniques done on this movie that really fit the vibe of what you're going for in A Quiet Place, with that chaotic energy that any other filmmaker, any other blockbuster would have just shot on a tripod. And it's like, I'm glad that basically the guy brought some sauce with him to like make the movie, because there were a lot of well done sequences playing within the frame, playing with the frame. I thought it looked very interesting and was very good. And let's put this to bed right now. Why, before this movie came out, and we've talked about this extensively on the show, why were people just saying no about Joseph Quinn? Everyone loved him in Stranger Things, and then suddenly this trailer comes out, and they're like, actually, fuck this guy. And it's like, what do you mean, fuck this guy? Like, he's an amazing actor. He
He
acted
was
his
great.
ass off in
He
this
was great in the
movie.
movie.
He was
He was really
amazing.
good.
Yeah, and Lupita Nyong'o, one of the best actors working today. So of course she gave a great performance, and it was just
The cat's the MVP.
oh yeah, 100%. And I love the film, and I thought it was great.
I like that because the uh it's the same director, right? He did Pig. I like that his two requirements for his movies now are just there needs to be an animal,
Yeah.
right? The pig and pig, and Alex Wolf needs to be in it because Alex Wolf's also in Pig and this
Yeah.
movie,
Mhm.
which I thought he did a really good job. I liked his character a lot in
Me
it.
too. And I like what they did with his character a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, I think overall, I think that I can see Quiet Place moving forward. Um, in this direction of spin-offs and just us seeing different locations. But even still, like I want to see sort of different areas too, because like I think the first two were just in upstate New York,
I think so.
and now we just go to New York. Like let me see like California
Hmm.
or
No, no. I want to see like Australia. Did the invasion happen everywhere? Like
mm.
I think that is a good question
I
because
think just moving forward though, I want to just see I want to see a little more creativity with the kill, like the concept of the aliens. Because like I said, every set piece just sort of devolves into someone makes a noise, a bunch of them show up, they run away, they're really quiet, one of them gets in their face, and then someone else makes a noise and they run away.
yeah. And what honestly I
Yeah.
think, and look, I admit that I'm saying this just because of who I am as a person. I'd like to see an R-rated Quiet Place. Now, listen, they have no financial need to do that because they are killing it right now. And if you make a movie R-rated, you're kind of risking it not doing as well. And
Yeah.
look, and what I will say is if they're going to keep making them PG-13, keep getting filmmakers like this guy who can make it fucking scary without showing the gore. Like, dude, there's a sequence, I won't give it away. There's a sequence where Joseph Quinn is on like a metal rafter towards the end of the movie and I was like holding my breath for how
Mm.
stressed out I was like during that scene. And
Yeah.
I think I it was almost like the old Marvel approach of like let's take this really interesting indie guy and give him some money and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Let's see what he does.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how
but
you get like your Evil Dead Rises too.
exactly. But yes, what did you guys think of A Quiet Place at day one? Let us know in the comments. And I'm going to talk about one more film and then maybe we'll talk about a trailer too. But I'm gonna talk about one more film before we go. Dude, when I was out here, I saw a movie called Thelma. Have you seen Thelma?
Mm-mm.
Dude,
That's the old lady one, right?
this movie fucking rules. Like it's so good. And I was not anticipating it. I had no interest in seeing this movie. I just kept seeing people I follow online, other like film pundits being like, "Yo, I watched this movie and you have to go see it. It's very good. It's very good." I was like, "Okay, whatever." Dude, I might go watch this movie again. I thought this movie was delightful. It's a dramedy.
Okay.
It's very self-aware. It knows exactly what it is. It's unfortunately the last performance from Richard Roundtree, who recently passed away. And the performances in this movie are great. The script is airtight. I love the script because not only are you basically the overlying story is an old woman gets scammed out of a lot of money and she's dealing with that situation in her life where she's getting old. Her family is thinking about maybe putting her in a home. Can she take care of herself? And she's going to
Mhm.
use this opportunity to prove herself. Like, no, I can make things for myself. I can do things for myself, and I'm going to go get my money back. I'm going to find the people who took my money and get my money back. And it's so funny because like the character goes on this journey where we're in trying to prove this. She
Mhm.
keeps facing situations where she has to confront herself and be like, maybe I do need help. Like maybe like this is the situation I'm in. And Richard Roundtree is like plays her friend who kind of helps her and does such an amazing job. Their chemistry is wonderful. But also, I'm going to sell you on the movie right now. Are you ready?
Mhm.
So the her grandson plays a big part in the movie, and the grandson's parents, her daughter and son-in-law, also play a big part in the movie, and their dynamic's great. Guess who plays the couple who are the parents?
Who?
Parker Posey and Clark Gregg.
Hell yeah.
That's all you need to know. And the
Parker
movie's so
Posey's
good.
the one who was well, she was in Scream, but she was in she's Bo's Afraid, right? She
Yes.
was the one at the end there.
Yes.
And then Clark Gregg, obviously, our Agent Coulson.
Yep. And but listen, the movie isn't perfect. It does there are a couple moments where you really got to suspend disbelief. to really get it going.
Mhm.
But other than that, it does a great job of storytelling, of diving into these characters, the theme, and it also does a comparison of the situation that the grandson is in and the situation that the grandmother is in, of the way that the parents treat the grandson is kind of like how he's treating the grandma, of like constant supervision, being like, please, like don't go anywhere without me. Like, are you okay? And that comparison I thought was really worked. Like this movie's like it's great. It's one of the best movies of the year, and I'm not like exaggerating that. It is a great movie that I highly recommend everybody see.
Is it playing wide? Do you know if we have it over here, or was it?
I think it's at Springs. I don't know if it's at Altamont,
Gotcha. Okay.
but it's so good, and it's a great date movie too. I highly recommend taking a date out to it. If you have grandparents, I highly recommend taking a grandparent to go see it because my theater was packed with older people and they were eating that shit up, dude. They loved it. There were more old people at this screening than there were at the Kevin Costner movie.
Which I think you did a little 3 hour trek into the American Saga, didn't we?
I did. It's fine, like
Are you
like
back for part two, three, and four?
look, I'm gonna watch two because two's done, but
Mm,
I don't think they're making three and four. um, so here's the thing about I'll briefly go into Horizon as well.
yeah.
3 hours long. There's three storylines. Two of the storylines I could care less about. One storyline was compelling as fuck. And every time they kept going back to that storyline, I was like, why isn't this the movie? Like, I'm sure you could make this hour into 90 minutes because what they left off was the resolution, which is going to come in part two. And it's like, just take that and finish this part of the movie, and you have one of the best 90-minute Westerns I've ever seen. Like, it's Kevin Costner's a great director. Like no one's going to take that away from him. And even in the parts that are boring, the movie looks great. Like it, it's very well made. But
Does it
like,
really end with a sizzle reel for part two?
and it's a long sizzle reel. It's not like a couple seconds. It's like 3 minutes. It's
I
so
heard that
long.
everyone was like, why didn't they just do a TV show with this?
And they should have, because I
Yeah.
feel like that would have worked out and you would have been able to do the other storylines more compellingly. But
Hmm.
like the first hour of the movie, it sets up the storyline that's interesting. But the rest of the first hour is this other story that, like, yeah, the action's good and it looks great, but I don't give a shit. Like literally, you just set up a story that's so interesting. I'm going to tell you the setup because I don't think this is a spoiler.
Hmm.
The setup of the interesting story is a woman rides, it's in like the late 1800s. A woman rides a horse up to this cabin with a shotgun, nudges the door open and says someone's name. And when he wakes up, she just fucking shoots him and then goes and takes a baby and basically says, like, you can't have him anymore, and rides
Okay.
off. And then the guy miraculously survives and gets his family. And the family come together and they're like, go kill that woman and get that child back. And I'm like, all right, like I'm in. I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. Let's
Yeah.
go. Then the movie takes an hour on just another story. And I'm like, I
Is the
don't
interesting story
care.
the non-Kevin Costner one?
No, no, no. So that story, the one that I just said is the Kevin Costner one. The two
Okay.
other ones are not. And
Ah.
like they're all gonna come together. Like and it's clear how, like when you watch the movie, but it's
Mhm.
like I don't care. Like the other stories, like the other story, like one's like a conflict between the settlers and the Native Americans.
Mhm.
Every fucking Western that you've ever seen. And then the other one, what I will give this other one is that Luke Wilson's in it and he's amazing. And
And when's
it's
the last time Luke Wilson showed up in
yeah,
something?
and it's basically just people in a wagon trail, and there's a couple who's like not putting in the weight on the wagon trail, and it's like that's the tension. So you have that for an hour, the Native American settler story, which had Sam Worthington, who we love, that for an hour, and then you have the compelling story for an hour, and that story rules. Like every time it would go back to that story, I'm like, yes,
Finally.
more of this. Like, and I just am so baffled by why this was the direction they took these stories. Like a TV show would have been better. Just three separate movies would
Just
have been
three separate
better.
90-minute movies. Yeah.
Yes. And you could say that they're all under one umbrella of the same world, like fine. But like Jesus
You're already calling it
Christ.
a saga. Just
Yeah, yeah. Like I was dumbfounded by the
interesting.
other stories. But like, I'll go watch the second part.
Yeah.
but it's just like I just wish it, and it's disappointing from Kevin Costner because he's a great filmmaker. So it's like,
Mhm.
why do this? And like he spent his own money on it. Like what a fucking dumb move. Like the movie's not going to make a lot of money. And it's like, why? You know? But yeah. So rant over. Last thing before we actually get into the news stories.
Yeah.
Sorry on the movie show that we're talking about movies. But but
We're
dude,
rambling on our podcast.
yeah, yeah. But dude, that Nosferatu trailer. Can we talk about that for a second?
It's quite good.
Bro, it looks so fucking good.
Listen, all you had to
Ah,
tell me was Robert Eggers is making a Nosferatu movie. Just give
yep,
me a release date. I don't even need
yep.
a
And then add on top of that Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe saying vampire.
Yes, yes. And I think Skarsgård's doing the
Yeah,
Nosferatu, right?
he's Count Olaf.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
Have you ever seen the original Nosferatu? Is this just the idea is that this is a remake?
Yeah, I watched it once in like a high school film class. I need to watch it again because I don't think I paid attention. But
Mhm.
I'm, everyone's well aware of like the historical significance of it. But like, dude,
Listen, Robert Eggers vampire movie. All I need.
I hope some theaters do a double feature because that would be cool as fuck.
That would be cool. I'd like that.
But yeah, but
Um,
go ahead.
oh no, I was going to transition to something else before we move to the stories, but
Go,
I don't know if
please.
it's more on the Nosferatu.
No, no, it's great. That's all you need to know.
It's a good
And
trailer. Check it
we're
out.
excited. Yes.
Uh,
Go on.
Watch it in a dark room though, otherwise you won't be able to see it.
Facts,
A lot of blue.
which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, before we move to the stories, I just wanted to give a quick recognition to someone that passed away recently. That is comedian and actor Martin Mull. Uh,
Yes.
we always usually give a minute when someone that we enjoy unfortunately passes away there. If you look at Martin Mull, I mean the big things that at least I know Dalton and I will pull from obviously Clue. I know that's Hannah's favorite movie of all time.
Yep.
So I'm sure you've seen it quite a bunch.
Hmm.
And for me, and I think Dalton as well, he was Gene Parmesan on
Arrested
Arrested
Development.
Development,
Yeah,
which was one of their funniest recurring characters, I think.
I agree.
But if you just go to his IMDb and just scroll through his credits, the countless shows he's appeared on, everyone has definitely seen him in something. So just wanted to give a moment to shout him out for, you know, all the great joy and laughter that he's brought and his unfortunate passing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that.
I read somewhere it was someone telling a story. I forgot who. But they were telling a story about him and it was a bit he would do just to try to alleviate tension and sadness when someone passed away. And apparently he'd walk into whatever set he was on if, someone passed away, right? So I'll use Martin Mull as an example for this. I guess he'd walk in and he'd be like, "Guys, you'll never guess what this role I just booked. I'm going to be working with the incredible Martin Mull." And then someone would be like, "He just died," and he would just go into like, "What?" Yeah, just to try to, which is a pretty funny bit, actually.
That is great.
Um, so yeah, just wanted to give a moment. Clue actor Martin Mull and so much more.
Yes. Yes. And thank you for that. And on that somber note, guys, we're now going to bring some joy with these news stories that are a week old. So, Nicholas, what do you got for us first?
Our first comes to us from the Insnider, and
Yes.
that is that we are finally getting a payoff to one of comedy's greatest jokes, and that is I'll see you in Spaceballs 2, The Quest for More Money. And well, Spaceballs 2 is officially in the works from Mel Brooks and Josh Gad.
Yes. Yes. Which is, a bit of a surprising, you know, thing, but it's really not because Josh Gad has recently, I think he's kind of started to take that producer route a little bit more.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, this is a lot of fun. The Spaceball sequel. I don't think it will be called The Quest for More Money just because, marketing reasons, but it could happen. I think that this is a good opportunity for more of this story to be told and more of this kind of the return of the parody film is what I would like to see. That would be great if that was the new blockbuster was the great parodies. But yeah, no, this is going to be really fun. It's very exciting, and I think that Mel Brooks being involved is really important and really key here, and he is going to be a producer.
Mhm.
Um, uh, the name is blanking me on who's directing it, but I know that they have a director now. I just have to find
But,
it.
it'll be directed by Josh Greenbaum.
Josh Greenbaum, that's right. That is right. And
And what has he
he
done?
has done he did Barb and Margot to Vista Del Mar, and he did Strays. He just did Strays, which came out recently.
Well, I quite like Barb and Star.
I never saw Strays, but
I
I
didn't see
remember,
Strays either, but
yeah,
reviews and ratings aside,
yeah, it was something. But I also think that Mel Brooks, if he has a hand in who's going to direct things, and if he didn't think he could do it, he wouldn't have chosen him.
I wonder how
And
far they're going to go, because obviously it's a parody of Star Wars. So I'm
mhm,
curious if they're going to tackle like the new trilogy or
I would be so shocked if they didn't.
like the concept of, well, but the trilogy ended a while ago. Now the big thing is all the shows, the spin-off shows. So I'd be curious where they're gonna go there.
Picture what they could make fun of, they will make fun of it. Like I can almost guarantee it. What I'm curious to see is the A-list celebrities that are going to be in this movie, because as soon as they announced this, people went to their agents like, "Get me in this fucking movie!" As like right now, like
There was
get me in there.
I always loved the uh this is me pitching a joke. I always loved the Family Guy Star Wars episodes. I always thought those were really funny, and I was always sad they never did another one. But I wanted them to do one with for episode 7, just called The Farce Awakens.
Yes,
So here's hoping we get Spaceballs, The Farce Awakens.
that would be amazing.
Now, what I'm curious about is so Josh Gad is starring in it, right?
I believe so. I think he's also helped writing it, if I'm not mistaken.
I know that every photo of Spaceballs 2 talking about it has just had the picture of Barf on it. Do you think that Josh Gad is going to be playing Barf? Or do you think that they're just going to go with a new thing entirely?
I mean, they could do Son of Barf. Like I'm sure there's a lot of different routes that you could go.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me. Josh Gad has a lot of reverence for kind of comedy legends,
Hmm.
and it wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of the approach that they're going to take there, is kind of using him to honor that legacy, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited about Spaceballs 2. What do you guys think? Are you excited about Spaceballs 2? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next story. And Nicholas, what do you got for
Watch,
us next?
did you watch History of the World Part 2?
I did not watch History of the World Part 2 yet.
I did not either. I don't know. I haven't seen Mel Brooks in something in a bit. I want to rewatch. I want to watch that now, see if he still has the sauce.
We can only hope.
All right. Well, our next story comes to us from Variety, and that is that Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk has landed The Night Comes for Us director Timo Jajanto. Filming set to start late summer. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name there.
That is okay, Nicholas. Sometimes the world gives you news that you didn't know you needed to hear, but when you heard it, you're like, life is now better having known this. All they needed to say was Nobody 2. And I'd be like, that's so exciting. That's riveting, right? All they needed to say was the guy who directed The Night Comes for Us is directing another movie.
I
I would
don't
have
think I
been
ever
like,
saw that movie.
Nicholas, it's so good. I'll get
I
to
don't
that
think I,
I'll get to that in a
unless you
second.
showed it to me.
I may have, but him directing Nobody 2. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy about this. Not only because is he an amazing action director, but if you thought Bob Odenkirk did crazy action in his first movie, my God, wait till you see this next one, dude. It's going to be insane. I think this is a great choice for a director. I actually don't know what happened to the previous filmmaker. I assume he just is busy with other projects,
Hmm.
but this is a great fucking choice for this movie. And just to briefly talk about The Night Comes for Us, it's a movie on Netflix that premiered. I think I want to say it was Tribeca. It was at like a major film festival, and it's made with the entire cast and entire stunt team of The Raid, but it's just a different film, and the action is Raid level. and it was
Hmm.
made by this filmmaker, and it's on Netflix, and it's so good. For those of you that haven't watched it, it's so good.
So I just pulled up on Letterboxd the movie,
Mhm.
and I have rated it, and Kyler has rated it.
Yeah,
So my only conclusion is that you had Kyler and I watch this movie,
yes, and it was just a long time ago.
and I honestly have zero recollection of this
Yes,
movie.
rewatch. It's time for a rewatch. I'm down. I'm down for that.
But I definitely have seen it then because I also gave it a rating.
Yeah.
So I definitely remembered seeing it.
This may have been the same day I made all of you watch Punisher Warzone because that was a fun day. But regardless,
Yeah.
uh, I'm excited about this news. What are your thoughts on getting a Nobody 2 from this filmmaker?
Um, I mean, if the action's there, I'm obviously very excited about that because I thought that Bob Odenkirk, especially for his age, just knocked the action out of the park in the first Nobody, and I think that this guy might even be a better director than the previous Nobody director. So I'm excited to see where they take it. I'm more interested also in where they take the story
Mm.
as well. I'm very compelled by that because they didn't really leave off with much outside of a spin-off of with Christopher Lloyd and who was the brother?
Um, oh my God.
Oh, RZA.
Yes, that's right. Oh my God.
Yeah, I felt like they just really set up a sequel with RZA and Christopher Lloyd, and that'll be interesting if they get him back too, both of
Yeah,
them. I'd
yeah,
like
that
to
would
see
be
that. No, but
cool.
the action was great in that movie. Here's what I'm excited about though. I'm excited about just us getting a bunch of sequels to random action movies again, and them really trying to make them good. So we have Nobody 2 coming out, and we have The Accountant 2 coming out.
Hmm.
And here's the beautiful thing about it too. They're just saying two. There's no colon. There's no colon in tagline. Just give me that. Give me Beekeeper 2.
Beekeeper 2.
Just keep churning these out. I'm very excited about this.
Yes. No, listen, I'm with you. I also miss just two, like give us two. And you saying Beekeeper reminded me when I watched Thelma, I was looking at reviews on Letterboxd and someone gave it 4 stars and said it would have been fifth if the beekeeper helped her. And I thought that that was hysterical.
I wonder. I wonder movie will, what superhero movie will return the two to titles?
Probably,
Because I feel like Iron Man 3 was the last one Marvel did that had a number.
I could honestly see if they do a fifth Thor. I could honestly just see them calling it Thor 5.
Thor apostrophe 5. Thor's.
There you go. There you go. That's marketing 101, baby. No, but let me see. Because even the Batman is the Batman Part 2 and it's the Roman
Yeah.
numerals. So I'm thinking like two. What would be the next two? Probably, I don't know, Batman's DC comments, relax. Um,
I don't think, but I even don't think James Gunn will do it.
no,
I think if they do
no.
a Superman 2, it'll be a colon. Batman's going to be, I 100% that movie's not going to be called The Brave and the Bold when it comes out. It's going to be Batman colon The Brave and the Bold.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe, hmm.
I think, honestly, I'd be down for just Shang-Chi too.
Well, no, because they've already done Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings. I feel like it's going to be Shang-Chi and
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good question. Like what has
Spider-Man's
the,
gonna have, Spider-Man's gonna have a colon.
yeah, 100%. Um,
Captain America has a colon.
yeah.
Thunderbolts 2.
No. If they even did a Thunderbolts sequel, it would definitely be like Thunderbolts something,
Oh,
you
and they
know?
already have the that weird asterisk thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
We will find out
We
if
will
they're
find
gonna.
out.
Maybe they'll have some announcement at Comic-Con this year when you go that you're gonna
I
be like, oh, they're just doing a sequel to this. Okay.
you know what I hope? I hope that since they're changing the name of Kang Dynasty, I just fucking hope it's Avengers 5.
I would like that.
Yes.
'Cause what
Yes.
was Yeah, Captain Marvel. Ooh, what about what's it called? Oh my God, why am I blanking?
Eternals.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I think Eternals 2 has the most potential.
yeah, maybe Fantastic Four.
No, because then you got Fantastic Four 2, and it's like there's so many
Yeah, that's
numbers.
funny. Yeah, I
Yes.
don't I, I don't see him doing anything there. I think our best shot's DC maybe.
You know what? It's gonna take 20 years, but I think our best shot is Blade.
I hope when you're at Comic-Con this year that they re-announce Blade
I hope they do it the exact same way and like the exact
with a
wording.
new release date.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce your Blade, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. We've never done this before.
Oh,
Yeah, but anyway, guys, what do you guys think about Nobody 2 coming from the Night Comes for Us director? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our last news story before the box office. And Nicholas, what do you got for us next?
our next story comes to us from Deadline, and that is that Harry Potter, the series, and Welcome to Derry, the prequel series, sequel series,
A prequel
It
series.
series, is moving from Max to HBO as part of big budget streaming strategy rethink.
Yes, so this is a very interesting thing, and the Green Lantern series, Lanterns, which will be part of the DCU, is also doing this. And this is the sign of a couple things. So essentially, they're going to be HBO originals and not Max originals. And
Mhm.
before anyone freaks out, if you don't have HBO, you'll still be able to watch it on Max like the same time or the following day. That's just how it works. But the branding of these shows is going to HBO instead of Max. I have so many opinions on this. One, I think it's overall a good thing because HBO is the better brand name, which you dropped from your streaming service for a dumb fucking reason, first of all. Secondly, this also goes to show that even Warner Brothers has been admitting that they've just been putting shit on Max, and they're like, the Max brand doesn't have the kick that the HBO name does. Why'd you fucking drop it from your service? Unless they dropped it knowing they were going to put shit content on there, which is so fucking stupid. But it was Discovery, the guy who did Discovery. So maybe that. Anyway, I'm happy that they're taking. To me, this shows that they're taking the one. They're taking the show seriously because they're giving it a very prestigious brand name with HBO.
Yeah.
One, two, they want that money from playing on TV. And while HBO doesn't have ads in the middle, they you can't have them before and after on the show sometimes. So that's going to get money. They obviously want their ad tiers when it's on Max to make money. And they, to me, what it tells talent that you're trying to attract onto the show, whether it be writers, actors, directors. Like this isn't a Max show. This is an HBO show.
Well, especially also coming off the strikes, these reruns, the residuals from syndication,
Yes.
to fill in those gaps there. And I think it's probably going to help them write off a little more money too, that it's also on cable as opposed to just on a streaming service that you have to sign up for. And I'd be curious, do you think that TV, so um you have talked about it extensively on the show when a movie goes to theaters and then streaming, it always performs better. Do
Yes.
you think that that also applies to television? Whereas if
Yes.
this show airs on uh, HBO and I don't have cable, right? But I'm like, oh, this Harry Potter show's been getting really good reviews, and then they drop it on streaming, is that going to bolster it?
Yes and no. Yes, in that they're going to drop it on Max, if not same day or day after, kind of like how
Mhm.
Hulu does. So you're already going to get people watching it on streaming anyway. But what that does is it takes people who don't have streaming and it takes people who don't have Max. Like, for example, if you just have HBO and you don't have Max, and this Harry Potter show blows your fucking mind and you want to rewatch it, you have to get Max now. if
Yeah.
you if you have Max and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to watch any of these new shows, and you see HBO branded Harry Potter, you're like, fuck, I want to check that out. So
Hmm.
it goes either way. And as for play value, absolutely it'll do better because it'll obviously with HBO do the week to week strategy. So you're gonna build your talking points as it goes along.
Yeah.
But it's just I think it's a no-brainer, honestly. Like, and to me, it does show that there is recognition in that HBO name brand. And
Hmm.
again, I've said it already. I'm baffled. I'm still baffled by the choice to remove it from the Max brand, unless it was purposeful so they could put shittier content on there. But that makes no sense to me.
Do you think they're going to pivot back to HBO, or do you think it's Max forever?
I think if they do, because I've seen some other people talk about this, I think if they do, it's not as soon as we hope it is. I think it's going to be more of a, they're going to just revitalize the HBO brand with a lot more content and taking the budgets they would give to Max and giving them to HBO instead.
Hmm.
And then once that builds, maybe they rebrand it back to HBO.
So here's my thing that I'm interested in, right? Because part of this announcement, Harry Potter, Welcome to Derry, Lanterns. There's a variety of other shows, specifically looking at DC. You know, you have Peacemaker season 2. You're gonna have the Waller show, Creature Commandos. You know, I wonder if those are gonna stay Max originals, and I wonder how they're gonna differentiate between the Max and HBO, and that it's still the connected thing. You're like, okay, but I Lanterns and Peacemaker are the same thing, but this one is here, and then this one's also here. But at the end of the day, they're both on Max.
Yeah, and I think them both being on Max is what will help consumer
Yeah.
confusion. But
Because
I
when you go
don't,
to the DC tab, it just has,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think that what will help
Hmm.
is just the fact that it will be all in one place. But now will Peacemaker and Waller and Creature Commandos become HBO? I'm not sure because
Yeah.
Creature Commandos is it's basically done.
I
So
think it
like
comes out in November, December.
yeah, so I would be surprised if that changes back.
Hmm.
Um, I'm still confused as to how it's connected in canon because now James Gunn even added more confusion recently to all that shit, but that's for another video. But
With for Peacemaker.
yeah, and Creature Commandos, and it's just like okay, you know,
Well, Creature Commandos, he just said that the animated will go into live action, right?
yeah, but he also said that the story of Creature Commandos picks up after Peacemaker, which is not canon. and it's
Never
like,
mind.
and it's
He's
like,
taking the
why?
X-Men approach.
Yeah, of just who fucking cares? But yeah, but anyway, I do think this is a good idea, but I think it's almost like it's about fucking time you guys started doing this because you should have been doing this ages ago when you
Yes.
first took over the brand. So I feel like you're kind of in a similar boat with me on there.
I real quick before we move on to the box office there, just another thing I wanted to throw in about the Harry Potter show is that they announced their showrunner and
Yes.
director of a few. And that is I only have the last names here. Hold on. Mark Mylod,
Mhm.
as well as Francesca Gardiner. And for those who might be unfamiliar with their names, Francesca Gardiner was the showrunner and producer of Succession, as was Mark Mylod. And now it's confirmed that Francesca Gardiner will be the showrunner for Harry Potter, with Mark Mylod directing a number of episodes in the first season. Which, what a fantastic team to be able to pull.
Yeah, and it goes back to me saying all the time, like people saying who are like, "Oh fuck this Harry Potter show, I'm not excited." Blah blah blah. It's like watch it first. Like, listen, if it's bad, I'll be there with you and say this show kind of sucks. Like,
Yeah,
too bad. And it doesn't do anything to the movies. It doesn't change them or affect them in any way. It actually, studies show, will make more people watch the movies than ever before because they want to be a part of the conversation and what's going on. So more people are going to watch the movies that you love because of this show. And best case scenario, if the show's great, then we have another great show in the Harry Potter world. Like, yeah, sure, it's going to be like a reboot of the first book, but that's cool. And another thing that I think people also aren't grasping, the kids will most likely be unknowns.
yeah.
Dude, the teachers are going to be fucking A-listers. Are you kidding me? They're gonna go balls to the wall for these professors. Like, we might get Adam Driver as Snape. You don't know, but that sounds cool. I'm there for that if that happens. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Like
They
Jared
better.
Harris as Dumbledore. I would watch that. Like, like give me some shit.
I say just make Brian Cox from Succession Harry Potter. Just let him
Yes,
be Harry Potter.
yes, 100%, 100%. Honestly, just bring back Kenneth Branagh as Lockhart. Just do it again.
You can do that. Just
Yeah, no one would get mad. But yeah, like there's a lot of potential there that I think people aren't like recognizing, and I think is interesting.
Mhm.
But thank you for bringing up the showrunner bit of the news. I forgot about that. And what do you guys think of Warner Brothers rebranding a lot of stuff to HBO to kind of give it some more prestige? Let us know in the comments as we move on to the box office.
The box office.
So we missed the box office last week because just stuff was going crazy.
Yeah.
But if you want to know the gist of it, basically, Inside Out 2 made $100 million in the second weekend. And I'm gonna pull up the numbers now. It made $101 million, only dropping 34 fucking percent. That is insane for a second weekend. Then
Wild.
came Bad Boys, Bike Riders, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Garfield. And surprise, we were both wrong in our predictions for that weekend. But we are now on to this weekend. And boy, oh boy, do we have some fun stuff to talk about. Coming in first, Nicholas, was once again Inside Out 2, dropping only 43% from week 2 to week 3. And as of today, it has officially crossed the $1 billion mark. It is the first 2024 film to do so, and it is the fastest animated film to reach this achievement. Holy
Until
shit.
next week.
Yes. For animated. Oh, yeah, true, because Despicable Me. Bro, that's a good fucking point, dude. But anyway, it's already made 5 times its budget. Pixar's back. What can you say? And while we were also guilty of kind of being like, oh, box office ain't looking good, we also have always said, like, well, let's look at the year-end numbers and before we start losing our shit. And this is why, because turns out everyone was just waiting for Inside Out.
Yes, no, Disney has nothing to be angry about there, but
Yeah,
they'll probably end up taking a wrong lesson from it too.
of course. But also, who else doesn't need to be angry is Paramount, because A Quiet Place Day One came in second place. And you might be thinking, oh, they must be disappointed it didn't open first. It's still the highest opening of the franchise at $53 million opening weekend,
Oh
opening even
wow.
higher than the first one. And I believe in worldwide right now, it has 98 million. So I believe it was made for like 70. Let me see.
Pretty good looking $70 million movie.
Well, I'm trying to, I might be full of shit. Okay, so I'm seeing 67. So the
All
budget
right.
was 67 million. So they're happy. Paramount is pleased, especially with how fine they're doing financially.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in third, this is a fun one. Coming in third was Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter One. Fucking Christ. Making $11 million on a budget of 50, I believe, for the first one. I think the two combined cost 100 something million. So while it did open third, it has only made 0.2 times its production budget so far. I'm very sorry, Mr. Costner. Should have finished Yellowstone first, buddy. But
Got another season of Yellowstone pay.
yep. Uh, let's see. Coming in fourth was Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is sticking in there, man, making another $10.3 million. And there could be some things that sneak into fifth place, but as of right now, it looks like it's going to go to the Bike Riders at another $3.3 million. Let me check with Deadline just to make sure that we are not missing what that fifth spot is going to go to.
Did you ever get around to seeing Bike Riders?
Not yet. So I was originally going to do a I was originally going to do a quintuple feature yesterday and watch 5 movies at the movie theater. I ended up only doing a triple feature because I had the evening left. I think I got out at my third movie at around 6:30,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, all right, I could do a 7 and a 10, but the 2 movies left were Bike Riders and Kinds of Kindness. And I'd already done a 3-hour movie that day. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to watch Kinds of Kindness another day. And so I had Bike Riders, and I was like, I could do Bike Riders, or I could go home and work on some script treatments for our upcoming stuff. And I was like, let's go work on some script treatments because I'm not going to have this opportunity to be like on vacation and work on it again. So
Yeah.
I just went home and worked on stuff. But According to Deadline, it looks like a film called Kalki 2898 AD is going to come in fifth with what looks like 5.4 million is probably a international film. So good for them if they do come in over the bike riders there. Now let's kind of go into some specific box office worldwide of these films that we've been looking at. Bad Boys Ride or Die is now at $331 million on a budget of 100, so it's at 3.3. That's profitable, baby. Let's go. Bike Riders is at 23 million worldwide. I don't know what the budget was, but I can guarantee you it's more than that. Garfield is at $239 million worldwide on a budget of 60, so good for them. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, 387. It's at 2.4. We're this close, guys. Just get there. You can do it. Kinds of Kindness. Now, in a very limited theatrical release, this film, for example, on June 21st, it opened in only 5 theaters and made $377,000. It then went to 490 theaters this past weekend, and it made 1.5 million. So far it is at 3 million worldwide. And I know the budget was not that high. I don't know the exact budget of the film, but as this movie comes out, I have a feeling it might stick at this number for a while, like this 1 million number, maybe for another week or so, because the reviews have been kind of mixed. But hey, either way, good for Yorgos Lanthimos and everyone involved. If got to 183 million worldwide, it's not going to quite reach 200, which is a bit sad. Thelma, which I talked about extensively earlier in the show, has now made $5 million domestically. It has not opened worldwide. Let me see what that budget was, because it couldn't have been high. All right, I'm not seeing the budget anywhere, so it's got to be pretty low. But either way, that movie is great, and everyone needs to go see it. Let me see here. I'll check on The Fall Guy one more time. It got to 173, so it was able to get a little bit more than its production budget back, but unfortunately we'll still lose some money for the studio there. Yeah, lots of stuff to take in. Any blanket thoughts before we move on to our predictions?
No, good for Inside Out for crossing that quickly there. That's all I got there.
Yeah, 100%. So let's do our predictions for next week, and you're gonna go first.
Oh boy. Is it just Despicable Me?
Let's find out. Because actually, no, MaXXXine comes out.
Oh, fuck, that's right.
I don't know how many theaters it comes out in, but it does come out. And I think Despicable Me opens on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it does. I think that's when we have tickets for.
Yeah, and I still think it's gonna kill on the weekend. Like, because usually if it opens early, it can hit that weekend, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue here.
What came in? Can you rattle off the top 5 again this week?
Inside Out, Quiet Place, Horizon, Bad Boys, and either Bike Riders or that international film.
All right.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay, no, Fly Me to the Moon, I think, is the following weekend.
gotcha.
It's not this weekend.
All right, I'm gonna go Despicable Me 4, number 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Inside Out 2, number 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Quiet Place. I'm gonna go MaXXXine, and I'm gonna go Bad Boys.
Ooh. You son of a bitch. I'm going to do the exact same thing as you, but instead of Bad Boys at 5, I'm going to go Horizon.
Okay.
Just because that target audience, they don't rush out opening weekend, you know? So maybe it's just, they're just waiting. At least that's what fucking Kevin Costner is hoping. Dude, movies are back. The rest of the summer is going to be a fucking killer box office, dude.
I'm very excited. Then we have Twisters, and then Deadpool.
Yep. By the way, everyone, our press screening for MaXXXine is tomorrow, and
Oh shit, that's right.
not only am I incredibly excited about that, I'm going to be so tired. And I told Hannah, because I land at midnight tonight, like going into Monday. And I told Hannah, I was like, listen, I'm gonna be a tired mess tomorrow. I am not missing MaXXXine. She's like,
You're getting the
she's like, I understand.
you're getting you're getting the straight into work. You're gonna have jet lag.
I'll sleep at work. I don't care. I am not missing MaXXXine that
I
night.
am I am pumped for MaXXXine.
If you get a text from me saying that I'm not going to MaXXXine, that means I've been replaced by an alien. Like it is not me.
Or he's
Uh,
died and it's Hannah.
yeah, I am going to MaXXXine. I'm so excited about it.
You better because I want to go see MaXXXine.
No, yeah, well, yes. And two, they gave me press screenings for MaXXXine and Despicable Me on the same day. And I was like, fuck Despicable Me. I'm going to watch MaXXXine. And I know Despicable Me would have gotten us more views, okay? I don't care. I want to see MaXXXine so bad.
I want to see MaXXXine. I'm very pumped.
Oh, me too. Me too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. Thank you for joining us virtually this week. We should be back in person next week. I'm really excited to share some more exciting stuff with you and to go into the summer movie season, baby. It'll be fun. Anything else to add, Nicholas?
Nope.
All right. Take care, brush your hair. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.